Hey, what's up? Derek Crabb here, History of Comics on Film. Shout out to Bot Talk, to comic book movies, to Earth's Mightiest, which I guess is now not updating anymore. I switched over. Ed told me about it, and I switched over to comic book movies, made a fan page there. So if you've been following it on Earth's Mightiest, you can watch it at comic book movies now. I've got the same kind of fan site set up for History of Comics on Film. Here we go. This is the Batman movie, the Adam West movie. This is between the first season of the TV series, the first and second seasons, I guess, of the TV series. Pretty much everybody's back except for Catwoman. And, the more you read about that, the more it seems like, I guess, Fox, and there was money kind of power struggle type thing where, they're like, hey, if you don't want to take the money we offer you, we'll just get somebody else. And that's probably what happened with Julie Newmar, I am guessing. And so we got some references to Bat Equipment here. I figured, I'd done the first appearance of Batman, first appearance of Robin, first appearance of most of the villains. So with this one, since a lot of the equipment besides the Batmobile hadn't been covered, I figured, hey, I might as well start covering the first appearance of a lot of those things, like the Whirly Bat here. Now this looks like to me it's still Camtasia, some of the pans and spins and close-ups. And so yeah, this is basically springs out of being in high school and watching this with a bunch of friends. Years later, you'd seen it when you were 9 and 7 and 11, but watching it when you're 17 with a bunch of guys over the house, and we're watching the scene with the shark, and man, we must have just been in tears. I mean, we were dying. And it's like, that's kind of the beauty of this whole thing. It's like when you were a kid, you lapped it up and ate it up with a spoon, like, oh, this is super heroics, this is cool, this is Pam or Pow Sock Wham, kind of thing. Like, you totally buy into the whole Batman fights crime and this and that and the other thing. And of course, all the police are goofballs. But anyway, you buy into all that, and then kind of years later, you can see all the humor in it and all that stuff that could crack you up for hours on end. So, and this I thought was something interesting to bring up too, is like, there really hadn't been any group of teams before that, right? So this is kind of the, it's not like in the movie serials there were a bunch of villains teaming up. It was just probably a big deal if Lex Luthor even showed up. Do you know what I mean? So this is kind of cool. Like, like before, I guess on the TV series, they had probably had 1 or 2 villains team up, or maybe even 3. I'm trying to remember. I remember like Catwoman and this guy, the Sandman, teamed up, and Catwoman and Joker teamed up sometimes, and different things like that. But here it was the first time like there was 4 of them, like a big group. And then of course she was like this clip right here. She was on the actual TV series as one of like King Tut abducted her and stuff like that. So milk and cookies, did you say? Yeah, so that's pretty awesome. And so, yeah, this is me doing my comic book rationalization thing. It's like, yeah, we all know Catwoman's really Selina Kyle, but it's like for, 50 issues of Batman, nobody knew who Catwoman's real name was, and they just kind of tacked that on there where she was like an airline stewardess and lost her memory and all that stuff. And so there's other issues where she's like posing as this girl Belinda and trying to hit on Alfred. So I figure, this... for the time it was made in, it's like, hey, it's like Catwoman wasn't always Selina Kyle, so, you know, this is me doing my comic rationalization of, yeah, it kind of fits with the comics. I mean, it's not like she was always Selina Kyle, so. And again, talking about the Bat equipment or the Bat vehicles, I figured I'd go into a little mini history on the Bat boat, which is kind of interesting. Because Scotland Yard gives that boat to Batman and Robin. Yeah, and so, I mean, you know, it's like I was saying before, I liked watching this movie. And then I had to throw this in. I mean, you know, it's kind of funny. This is a pretty awesome series. It's like pretty much done in the same vein. It's a Roger Corman thing, but it's like the '60s Batman series, but with boobs. And of course, Frank Gorshin is super awesome. He won an Emmy for the Riddler. And then, you know, I wanted to make the Burgess Meredith connection. And, you know, part of my lexicon is Mickey and Golobulus, and, you know, I guess I could have thrown in the Twilight Zone episode, you know, where he breaks his glasses and stuff, you know, things like that. But, you know, I stuck with Golobulus and, get up, you son of a bitch! You know, so yeah, that's what I stuck with. And of course, you gotta love the crappy coloring on the Filmation Batman, where the R on Robin's chest would go from black to yellow to black, and then kind of, you know, some ways I follow up on the history of the comic character, you know, and say, oh, this is what Batman eventually does. But here I kind of focused on Adam West, you know, like when he, you know, appears as the Gray Ghost, or, you know, I know he appears on like Family Guy and different things on like that. But here's The Simpsons too, so. Anyway, but yeah, so I figured end on a fun note with Adam West here, and that's something that's been interesting too, trying to remember or keep tabs on things like that, the kind of cameos or joke appearances and stuff. But anyway, thanks for watching.